Good afternoon and welcome to e-commerce holiday shopping, a dive into audience behavior and how to leverage it. My name is Danielle Duran. I will be presenting this webinar today. I'm the founder of Boxwood Digital Marketing. We are a digital marketing agency that focuses in working with e-commerce companies, mostly in SEO, PPC, and website design. But our team has had a long enough history in e-commerce and in marketing that we're familiar with a lot of different areas of digital marketing. So we often can still speak to these various aspects of digital marketing, but where we really specialize in is the SEO, PPC, and website design. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So today we are going to cover 6 notable online holiday shopping trends. So we, throughout the last couple of months, have just been taking note of things that we see online and stats we see that we feel like are relevant to our clients this holiday season of 2022. And so we've been keeping track of those and grabbed the 6 that we think are the most important here for this presentation. So with those 6, we're going to talk about what they each mean for e-commerce businesses as well. And then we're also going to share some actionable tips on how to leverage them. So let's jump right in. Trend number 1 is holiday shopping is beginning earlier and lasting longer. So I am also going to turn on a poll here. So our question is, when did you begin planning your marketing campaigns for the 2022 holiday season? If you want to go ahead and vote while we go through this section at the end, we'll share the results. So let's keep going here. So according to Salesforce, early bird shopping, so online sales that occurred during the first week of November, actually increased by 16% this year over last year. So that is, often we're used to sales kind of starting around Thanksgiving, around Black Friday. But so far this holiday season, we've already seen a 16% increase in that first week of November. So in 2021, 23% of holiday sales occurred during the last 2 weeks of the year. So an 11% increase year over year. And that's projected to be the same this year. So the season is essentially, let's go to our next slide where we kind of summarize this. Essentially, the holiday shopping season, you should consider it to be November 1st through December 31st, even through that week of Christmas and New Year's. So we're used to Black Friday through, your last ship by date being your Christmas shopping season. That is not really true anymore. And I think a lot of that is because of the ease of online shopping is that it's starting earlier and ending later. So what does this mean for e-commerce companies? So you should start your promotions and sales early, but I would pace your messaging strategically. So while shopping might still be starting at the beginning of November, I would still plan the bulk of your sales and your, ad budget to be the weeks of Thanksgiving through the first 2 weeks of December. That's still probably when the bulk of shopping will be happening, but I would still kind of run some promotions before and after. I just wouldn't start, with an email a day at the beginning of November because your customers are going to start tuning you out pretty quickly. So same with planning your budgets accordingly to take full advantage of the holiday shopping spending. So, getting buy-in from management and, finance to make sure that your budget can cover those full 2 months is probably something you would do a little bit differently as well. So also prepare your marketing campaigns well in advance so that, if people are out of the office or starting to take lots of vacation in the fall, make sure that you guys start on these campaigns early because it's going to be kind of difficult to decide at the last minute that you want to run a sale Christmas through New Year's if your entire pricing team is out of the office and no one can update the website. So also set clear expectations of still when that ship by or deliver by Christmas date is for your business. Sure, there might be people who are ordering over Christmas and after Christmas, but a lot of people are still going to want to make sure their orders arrive by Christmas. So I would still include in your messaging that sure, maybe your promotion runs through Christmas, but someone still can't, order on Christmas Eve and have it arrive on Christmas. So let's look at the results of the poll. When did you begin planning your marketing campaigns for the 2022 holiday season? It looks like most of you are saying summer of 2022 and just only recently, so within the last couple of months. So it looks like most people are still just kind of starting maybe 6 months in advance and not much earlier than that. So, I think for smaller teams that's possible, but for larger teams, you might find that it gets more and more difficult to do last minute planning like that. So let's move on to our next trend here. So for the first time ever this year, the percent of e-commerce transactions put on credit cards declined over the previous year. But that is because more people are actually financing and using buy now, pay later than ever before. So, buy now, pay later transactions, and this is according to Shopify, are up 29% year over year. So, that is a pretty big increase. So, Shopify also says that merchants that have buy now, pay later options actually see up to 28% fewer abandoned carts. So, if you are someone who sees a lot of abandoned carts, that probably is sounding pretty nice to you. I'm going to throw up another poll here, which is just asking if you do offer buy now, pay later options currently on your website. So, really, the consensus here about buy now, pay later is that if you are not offering any of these options, you're probably leaving money on the table. There are probably people who maybe they're even looking for a buy now, pay later option because they've been doing it with their other online shopping. They see you don't have it, they maybe leave. But I think also for people, especially with some of these 0% financing options, it can really help them it can be that last extra push they need in order to hit buy versus, hemming and hawing, price shopping, whatever. So, what does this mean for e-commerce? So, setting up a buy now, pay later option can decrease abandoned cart rates and it can actually increase average order value. So, often merchants do see that people will buy a little bit more and spend a little bit more when they see you have a buy now, pay later option. So some of the buy now, pay later providers do offer kickbacks to their vendors, while some, like Shop Pay Installments, for example, which is that 0% option, they do actually do the opposite, where they charge a slightly higher processing fee. It's not huge versus their normal processing fee, but it's about 1% more. It varies of what tier of Shopify plan you have. But so that's something to consider too, is if you do some of these options that do have interest, sometimes you'll even get a kickback for referring people to them. But the other way around is that you may even have to pay a little bit more. But if that outweighs getting more sales, then that may be worth it. And Shop Pay Installments, for example, they still give you the full amount upfront and they handle those installments. So another one is that if you in particular are an e-commerce business that has really high ticket items, then this is probably something you should be already doing, and you may already be doing it. But it's something that, especially these 0% options, there's no reason not to if you have a high sticker price item. Because think about, if you go into a traditional mattress store, they're always going to offer financing options. So if you have an expensive product like that, a durable good, people probably are already expecting there to be financing options. So it's also a good idea to notify your customers of these options when you run your holiday promotions, because seeing that you have a buy now, pay later option, even, that 0% option, if you decide to include that, that is a really good motivator to get people onto your site and to pick you over a competitor. So let's look at our results here. So The majority of you said that you do not currently offer a buy now, pay later option. You know, I would say it looks like two-thirds of you said that you do not, one-third of you said that you do. So that's just something to consider and maybe look into your options, you know, wherever your e-commerce platform is, and see if there's anything that makes sense for you. All right, trend number 3 here. So we all have probably heard this a lot, that spending is a little bit down this year overall. I don't think that's much of a surprise to anyone who is, you know, an active consumer. You're seeing prices go up a lot. But surprisingly, e-commerce spending is still up from last year. So, according to Adobe, who I guess gathers a lot of stats on this, so online spending is poised to grow by 2.5% in 2022. So some people see that we've been growing by, you know, 8, 9, 10% a lot of years. So this 2.5 kind of freaks them out a bit. But for me, you know, with GDP only projected to grow by a point and a half this year, I still see uh, e-commerce growing by 2.5 as a win. I honestly expected to see a much bigger backslide post-pandemic in e-commerce, which, knock on wood, has not really happened. I think a lot of people just got more comfortable with online shopping and formed new habits. And so while spending might be down overall, it still does seem clear that people are continuing to do a higher percentage of their retail shopping online versus brick and mortar. So, you know, like we just kind of reiterated, is that your shoppers might be more price sensitive, but they are still doing more of their shopping online. And so, for the people, you know, in e-commerce, this is still a good sign, I think, of what to expect in the future. So, what does this mean for e-commerce? You know, no need to sound alarm bells yet. E-commerce still seems like it's going pretty strong, and I would say of our clients, we still are, you know, having record years with a lot of our clients, and you know, let's hope this trend continues. But we haven't seen huge fallout yet in our clients in e-commerce. So I would say though that you may need to expect even more brick and mortar retailers to be going online now, because they're probably seeing these stats too, that maybe their in-store sales are down but their online sales are still going up. So I would say continue to expect more e-commerce competition. And like we mentioned, you know, although pandemic level sales online are pretty much gone by now, I would say it seems clear that people did form new habits and got accustomed to doing more online and more online shopping. And so I think that that boost is going to still have ramifications in the future. Trend number 4. So shoppers are more price sensitive, so they will be spending more time in the research phase of their customer journey. So, if you aren't quite sure what I mean by the research phase, you know, the traditional marketing funnel, and I'm sure you are aware of this and think about this in maybe a less like structured way, but the traditional marketing funnel, you know, you have the top of the funnel where it's people who aren't even aware of your business or your product yet, and then as they move further down the funnel toward a sale, they're aware of you, but now maybe they're doing some research and some price comparing. This is often called consideration. And then as they move closer to the sale, you know, now they're ready to make a sale. So now they might be getting in contact with your business, asking direct questions. And then, you know, at the bottom of the funnel is going to be your conversion action. So with people being more price sensitive, they're spending more time in the research phase before they're ready to move on to making a decision and making a purchase. So another poll I'm going to throw up here is, do you feel like your shoppers are more price sensitive this year? I'm going to go ahead and get that started so you can respond while I go through these. But so according to Statista and AYTM, and by the way, we will send this out. So if you want to look at any of these sources, feel free. So about 50% of consumers self-report that they have become more price sensitive this year. So Overall, though, 17% of shoppers say that they always price compare their purchases. 69% say that they usually or about half of the time price compare their purchases. Only 14% say that they rarely or never do. So there are still a huge amount of people that are price comparing and that have always been price comparers. This stat, I believe, is from 2021. And so, sure, the pandemic was still, going strong, but it is not quite from this year with all of the inflation we've seen. And so, I think you still can expect that most people just are going to always price compare. So, expect your conversion cycles to take longer and for your customers to do more price comparing. So, often you'll see in your especially if you have a sales team, this is something that they probably see a lot where they're having to do versus, normally maybe one or two phone calls in order to get the sale. Now maybe they're having to do three, four, five, or they're having customers where normally they think, this guy hasn't responded in a week. I probably lost the sale. And then they pop back up 2 weeks later. The difference is just that people are just taking a lot longer to decide because they're doing more research and more price comparing. So, what does that mean for you? So, if you're doing retargeting campaigns, which everyone should be doing, I would recommend broadening your retargeting window. If you have set up your own campaigns, you'll understand what I mean. Or if you don't, maybe reach out to your marketing provider and ask them about this. But often the default, I think, is someone who's visited your website in the past 60 days or 30 days, but I would even go up to 180 days on your retargeting campaigns of, wanting to re-show ads to people who visited your website within the last 180 days. And if you're not doing retargeting, I would start doing it now. So also maybe consider adding a lead capture tool so that when people get in touch with you or visit your website, but maybe don't make a sale, there's still a way that you can follow up with them. So maybe this is putting in their email address to get a coupon, or maybe this is filling in a little bit of information in order to request a quote or get a special white paper to download. So doing a lead capture tool so that you can still stay in touch with those people who are in that consideration and that research phase, I think is a great idea to start. And also, especially if you are a retailer of a bigger name brand, you definitely need to be in Google Merchant Center, whether you're running ads or not. It is free to add your products there. And then when someone Googles your product, you'll show up in that shopping tab and people will be able to do a lot of price comparing there. But also it might be a really good idea to run ads. And you can also run shopping ads with Google Merchant Center. And also with SEO, just make sure that your products are showing up for the same keywords that your competitors are using. So that if someone is Google searching, black wool sweater, that you're going to show up along with your competitors and you're not calling it a black wool light jacket or something like that. Try to strategically use your keywords so that if someone is doing research that you'll show up with your competitors. So poll review. All right, 100% of people actually said that they feel like shoppers are more price sensitive this year. So I think even us as consumers, we probably agree that we're a little more price sensitive this year ourselves too. So let's keep going. Okay, trend number 5. Google is ramping up their e-commerce share in a big way. So what does Google have planned? Not sure if you guys have stayed up on some of this news, but in the past year or so, what kind of market researchers and, marketers are really noticing is that Google seems to be once again kind of going after Amazon and going after Amazon's monopoly as an e-commerce marketplace. They've tried to roll out features in the past to be more like Amazon that just haven't really taken off. Where, to explain what I mean is you type in something like men's watch in Amazon and you see just a bunch of different results with different merchants. That's what they're working on developing, and getting just more of that share of people who search something like men's watch. They want it to be a lot more shoppable. So rather than the long results where it's a name and a couple of sentences, and it's all text, they're focusing on rolling out more of those picture and like title and price type results to make it more browsable and more shoppable like Amazon. So they really want some of that market share for that online marketplace type shopping experience. So some of the things that they've started to roll out is you can earn little badges on your products that say sale and special offer. They also have been enhancing, so Google owns YouTube if you weren't aware, but they've been enhancing some of YouTube's on-site shopping experience too. And you actually can run ads through Google ads that run on YouTube. But so they really seem to be investing heavily in e-commerce, which I would even say is a good sign for us that are in e-commerce, that it's not really going anywhere anytime soon. But it also means that you should really keep an eye on these changes rolling out, because if you don't stay up to date, it's pretty easy to get left behind. So if Google SEM, search engine marketing, so that'd be SEO and Google Ads, if it's not already a core part of your marketing strategy, it is time to diversify. If you only sell on Amazon, they take a huge cut. Google doesn't plan to take a cut of sales. They just want more of those searchers so they can get the ad dollars. If you're not already working on, especially your SEO strategy, I would start it immediately. So what does this mean? Setting up your Google Merchant Center is going to be really important. That's where either a free listing or a paid listing, that's how Google's going to grab that product image with the price, with if it's in stock or not. It will grab that all directly from your website. So I would say consider paying for shopping ads if you're a retailer with a lot of competitors, because like we mentioned with that price comparing, there's more and more people now who are going to be more price sensitive. And so I would also consider just paying for those placements if you sell something that a lot of other competitors sell too. And I would, leverage Google's new features and stay up to date there, because I don't think Google is going anywhere. And I think that their share, especially as, PR for Amazon gets worse and worse, I definitely can see that they have a good shot here at taking over some of that marketplace activity. People are saying there's probably something bigger coming too, that they are ramping up to maybe a really big grab. So we as e-commerce marketers will definitely be keeping an eye on what Google's working on, and I would recommend that you do too. Okay, trend number 6 here. So mobile sales currently make up 73% of all e-commerce transactions. So this number's been going up for a while, and I honestly was pretty surprised to see that it's almost 3/4 right now. So I feel like I probably have a couple of clients that I need to remind of this stat, that, we often, when you're at work, you're often using your desktop. And I think we have to remember that the way that a lot of our customers are actually viewing our sites is on mobile. And I don't think you should ever lose sight of that. So according to Oblero and TrueList, the share of mobile e-commerce sales in total e-commerce has increased by 39% from its 52.4% market share to currently 72. So basically this is saying from 2016 to present, the percent of mobile shoppers or sales that are happening has gone up by almost 40%. So that's a huge increase in the last 6 years. So, mobile users are 5 times more likely to abandon their tasks if they're not optimized for mobile. So, mobile users basically will just give up a lot more easily. If the website isn't working correctly, they can't add it to cart correctly, or something like that. They're 5 times more likely to just give up, leave your site, abandon the task if it's not working properly. So also just a 1 second page response delay can cause a 7% reduction in conversions. So if you are seeing big bounce rates on your website, your load speed is definitely something to check. Fortunately, if you're on something like Shopify, they do a pretty good job at streamlining your site for you so that it will load pretty quickly. But if you are on something a little more old school, it's probably worth looking into either switching platforms altogether, maybe a couple of our clients, hint, hint, or just maybe working with a web development team to see how you can streamline those load times a little bit more. So also on the flip side, a good user experience can increase websites conversion rates by up to 200%. So you can more than double your sales by having a really good mobile interface. So if your website is not mobile friendly, turn off this webinar now and go fix it. This might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but really, I mean it. Your mobile version of your site for e-commerce, there's really no way to get around it these days. And unless you still have a Nokia flip phone, I'm sure that you do a lot of your shopping on your phone too. So just think about your own user behavior as a shopper. That's exactly what your customers are doing too. So, what does this mean for e-commerce? So, it's time to implement a mobile-first marketing strategy. So that means that not only should your website work well on mobile, but you should also gear your other strategies towards mobile too. So think the aspect ratio of the images on your website and the images in your ads that should be made to be mobile friendly. Think about your font sizes. Is your font super huge or super tiny on mobile? You should focus first on how well your website and how well your marketing materials are working on mobile versus on desktop. Also, your SEO strategy, it's going to be a little bit different when you're catering to mobile users. They do tend to search a little bit differently, and they do tend to click on results a little bit differently than they do on desktop. So also something to consider is adding more, mobile friendly options for how people can shop. So your own app is something to consider. That's probably, something for bigger budgets, but people really do enjoy when they can have just that super easy shopping experience with an app. So also text message marketing is something on the rise. So sending someone a text promotion with a really clickable link that takes them straight to your website or straight to your app, and they can shop right there on mobile. That's something to consider as well. So, in summary, we're going to just review all 6 of these points, and I am going to turn on our final poll here. I would love to know, which of these trends do you find the most surprising? So I'm going to turn this on here, and then as we go through, I am really curious to know which of these you were the most surprised to hear today. Okay, so our first point was that the holiday shopping season is starting earlier and ending later. So November 1st through December 31st should be your holiday shopping season. Our second point here was that if you're not offering buy now, pay later, you're probably leaving money on the table. So our third trend was that although people are more price sensitive than last year, they are still doing a larger share of their shopping online. So online shopping is still increasing. So our next point here was that expect conversion cycles to take longer and for your customers to do more comparing. I always want to say price comparing during their shopping experience. And then we have our fifth point. If Google SEM isn't already a core part of your marketing strategy, it's time to diversify. So that trend of Google increasing their e-commerce shopping share more and more. And then our sixth and final trend here is that online shopping is going more and more toward mobile. So if your website is not mobile friendly, turn off this webinar and fix it. So let's look at the results of our poll. Okay, so actually what most of you said was the most surprising was that although overall spending is down, e-commerce spending is still up. That looks like that's what most of you said surprised you the most, followed by the holiday shopping season starting earlier and lasting longer. And lastly, that buy now, pay later is on the rise. So very interesting. I personally was really surprised about everything that Google is doing to get into e-commerce because I felt like they already had such a huge share of e-commerce, but I guess just that visual marketplace feel is something they have been trying to get into for a long time, and it looks like they're trying to give it a stab again. So I found that pretty interesting. But I also would love to open this up for questions in the Q&A. So let's see. Oh, we do have one question. Okay. So, and also if you are watching this afterward, feel free to email us your question or give us a call. But I'll go ahead and answer this question. Okay, it says, I was going to ask, but I just Googled it and I see that, oh, Shopify has the buy now, pay later app I can try out. Oh, yeah. And then thanks for the idea. Yes, that is the Shop Pay installments. So they have just the normal Shop Pay, and then they also have the Shop Pay installments option. And that was the one I was mentioning where it has 0% interest for the user, but it does charge a slightly higher transaction fee for you rather than versus the credit card fee. But to me, it looked like it was only about 1% higher. So it seemed to me like something that I would consider offering. So if you guys have any other questions, I will hang out here for a second. Oh, okay, we have one more. What are some tactics we can use to reach people during their research? So I'm assuming during the research phase. So I think that retargeting, like we mentioned, is a huge one to use, retargeting ads. So essentially, if someone visits your website or looks at a certain product, running ads that then show your product to them again as they're doing their other browsing. You also can even run a type of retargeting ad where if someone came to your site, say you sell speakers or something, and then they Google search speakers again, you can actually run a type of retargeting ad where you can make sure that you show up first when they're Googling speakers. And it just looks like a normal run of the mill ad, but they're like, oh yeah, there's that company that I was just checking out the other day. So you can actually make your own segment of Google search ads that are shown to people who visited your website recently. So, as you can imagine, you're probably willing to pay more for that click because they're already looking at your company. But so I would really run retargeting, and you can do retargeting on social media. It's just social media ads are a little iffy, as you've probably heard. But I would say that retargeting ads on social media are one of the few types of social media ads that I do still think are worth doing. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes for questions. I'll probably give it 1 or 2 more minutes before I close this out here. And you can always go to our website, boxwooddigital.com, reach out to us there if you have any questions, or email this general inbox, or call this phone number. That's an easy way to speak directly to me or one of our team members. So I'm always happy to just give free advice, free consults, even if you do not plan on hiring us. I'm usually just totally happy to talk shop and talk marketing because I just really enjoy marketing and I really enjoy developing new strategies. So I am all about free help. And then maybe one day down the line, your business grows and you end up hiring us. I consider that a win. Um, Another question, will we have a presentation or recording? I will send out a recording to everyone who registered afterward. And I will also ask people if they would like a copy of the slide deck. We will at some point post this on our website as well, probably just not immediately, to kind of give preference to those who attended and registered for the webinar. But we will send everyone, after this is over, we will send you a recording to your email so that you can watch it again. Okay, well, unless I see any other questions come in, I think we're going to go ahead and close out here. Thank you, everyone, for your time. I hope that you have a great holiday season and that we, see you in 2023 again, where I think we will do another trends webinar because we find them super helpful to research. We're always keeping tabs on new trends. So I think that these sorts of informational sessions are really helpful for everybody. But thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.